The realm of pop music is infamous for its ever-changing and uncertain environment, making it one of the most challenging genres in which to maintain a long and successful career. With the digital age dominated by streaming and social media, pop trends are in constant flux. Artists who attain substantial success in one era may find their commercial fortunes drastically diminished in the next. This can be attributed to evolving tastes, artists gradually losing prominence, or influential figures behind the scenes shifting their focus to other endeavors. Leigh McKee was born in California of January 1984, but would spend most of her childhood in Seattle, Washington. From a young age, Bonnie displayed an uncanny musical talent, as she was a prominent member of the Seattle Young Girls Choir, which recorded several albums and toured throughout North America and Europe. Her preference for pop singing would come after her musical director informed her of the difference between pop and classical styles. Through her mother's connections at a record label, Bonnie began to record demos and eventually started writing songs of her own. Upon moving back to California at age 16, Bonnie would release her debut album Trouble in 2004. Far from the turbocharged pop of her later work, the album was a collection of indie rock self-described by Bonnie as coffeehouse pop. Bonnie would write every track on the album, which was produced by Rob Cavallo, famed producer of My Chemical Romance, Green Day, and Fleetwood Mac fame, as well as Antonina Armato, known for her work as a member of Rock Mafia and their collaborations with Miley Cyrus. While the single Somebody would gain some traction and the album itself received positive reviews, the album would go on to sell only about 17,000 copies, and Bonnie would unfortunately be dropped from her label shortly afterwards. Not to be deterred, her boyfriend and later producer would connect her with a music publishing company, Pulse, which would officially begin her foray into songwriting for other artists. In 2007, Bonnie would have a small role in the music-based film August Rush starring Freddie Highmore, as well as a single episode of CIS New York. During this time, Bonnie would come into contact with two figures that would become instrumental in her later success: Katy Perry and producer Lucas Gottwald, aka Dr. Luke. For this video, I am not going to be addressing or going into any detail about the allegations made against Dr. Luke by Kesha. The purpose of this video is to uplift strong, powerful women in the industry and to spread positivity. In 2009, Bonnie would contribute to some of the first major acts of her career, including American Idol star Elliot Yamin and Gossip Girl star Leighton Meester. Following the success of Katy Perry's debut pop record, One of the Boys, Bonnie was among several producers and songwriters recruited by Katy's label Capitol Records to work on her follow-up album. The two would collaborate on several tracks together, inspired by their misadventures in their younger teenage years. This concept in particular would blossom into the songs California Girls, Last Friday Night TGIF, and Teenage Dream, the latter of which would become the title track for Katy's blockbuster third studio album released in 2010. All three songs were released as singles from the project, and all of them would peak at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Bonnie would later go on to call Teenage Dream one of the best songs of her career and the song that she was proudest to have written. For the release of Teenage Dream, Bonnie had co-written the song Dynamite by British artist Taio Cruz alongside Dr. Luke and Max Martin, and the song would later go on to peak at number 1 in both the US and the UK. Following the release of Teenage Dream, Bonnie would become a very highly sought-after songwriter. Dr. Luke and Max Martin would bring Bonnie along to write songs for Britney Spears' 2011 record Femme Fatale. Amongst the 5 songs that McKee contributed was the album's lead single Hold It Against Me, which would debut at number 1 on the Hot 100 and peaked at number 6 in the UK. McKee would also contribute background vocals to the project as well. Also in 2011, Bonnie contributed to projects by Kelly Clarkson and Miranda Cosgrove. 2012 would prove to be an even bigger year for Bonnie. In that year, Bonnie contributed 2 tracks to Adam Lambert's second studio album, Trespassing, including my favorite song from that album, Chokehold. Later that same year, Bonnie would contribute one of my favorite songs off of Christina Aguilera's Lotus album, Let There Be Love. The song, while not being released as an official single, received positive reviews and it would go on to be the second biggest club hit of 2013, peaking at number 1 on the dance club chart in the US. Also in 2012, Bonnie would reunite with Katy Perry for the reissue of Teenage Dream titled The Complete Confection. Bonnie co-wrote the singles Part of Me and Wide Awake, peaking at number 1 and number 2 respectively on the Hot 100. Outside of the music industry, Bonnie would also contribute to the soundtrack for the hit television series Smash. Amid her burgeoning success, Bonnie would spend much of 2012 and 2013 on her long-awaited follow-up to 2004's Trouble. Her string of hit singles had caught the attention of producer L.A. Reid, who had inked her a deal with Epic Records. The lead single from the new album, American Girl, garnered praise for its satirical lyrics and vibrant music video, but unfortunately only achieved modest chart success, peaking at number 87 on the Hot 100. While still working on the album, Bonnie released a Halloween-themed music video, Sleepwalker, in the fall of 2013. Bonnie described the song and video as an in-betweengle to tide over her fans until the release of the next single and album. The zombie-themed music video drew comparisons to Michael Jackson's Thriller and received positive reviews. Despite her promotional tour in support of the album, where she opened for acts such as Carmen and the Jonas Brothers, Bonnie's second album was ultimately delayed for several years before she eventually departed the label in 2015, citing a lack of support for her artistic vision. In the meantime, though, Bonnie would reunite with Katy Perry and Dr. Luke for the follow-up to Teenage Dream, which would end up becoming 2013's Prism. Of the 4 songs that Katy and Bonnie wrote together, 2 would be released as singles, which achieved a diamond certification for sales of over 10 million copies in the US, and also topped the Billboard Hot 100 chart, marking Bonnie's 6th #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100, as well as Katy's 8th. In addition, the 3rd single, Birthday, also co-written by Bonnie, peaked at number 17 and received positive reviews from critics, being noted as one of the stronger songs off of the album. Bonnie would also co-write the hit singles How Do We Party by Rita Ora and I Don't Care by Cheryl, both of which would make it to #1 in the UK. She also contributed the album track Under Control for Ellie Goulding's 2013 album Helicon Nights, another personal favorite of mine. Later that same year, Bonnie would re-team with Britney Spears on Ooh La La, which was released as a single for the Smurfs movie soundtrack. Additionally, Bonnie would co-write 2 songs for Kesha's second studio album, Warrior, the album's second single, Come On, and the fan-favorite deep cut, Supernatural. Come On would go on to peak at number 27 on the Hot 100 and reach number 9 on the mainstream Top 40 radio chart. Following her departure from Epic Records, Bonnie would sever ties with Dr. Luke's Kemosabe Records and opted to pursue her music career as an independent artist. In 2015, she unveiled the Bombastic EP, which featured collaborations from singer Charlie Puth and producer Greg Kurstin. The EP received positive reception from critics and fans, and all 4 songs would be accompanied by music videos. A year later, in 2016, Bonnie released the single Stars in Your Heart, originally recorded in 2008 for a project that had been intended to be a follow-up to the album Trouble. The release of the song was accompanied by a music video that was produced in 2013 for the album that was ultimately scrapped during her time at Epic Records. During this period, Bonnie continued to release singles and contributed to other artist projects, including tracks for Kelly Clarkson's 2015 album Piece by Piece, Avril Lavigne's 2019 album Head Above Water, and Ava Max's 2020 album Heaven and Hell. Notably, Ava Max has been recognized for drawing inspiration from the maximalist pop sound that Bonnie, Dr. Luke, and Max Martin pioneered in the early 2010s. In 2023, after more than a decade since initiating work on her second studio album, McKee began to build anticipation for the album's release through social media promotions. She revealed that Epic Records still retained ownership of the original master recordings, which had prevented her from releasing the album after parting ways with the label. Inspired by Taylor Swift's re-recordings of her masters and fueled by a discovery of a substantial 500-page forum dedicated to the shelved project, McKee embarked on an ambitious task of re-recording all of the songs originally intended for the second album. The official lead single, Slay, which had previously leaked in 2013, was unveiled in April of 2023. Subsequently, the album's title track, Hot City, accompanied by a stylish music video, was released later that year, before finally being released in May of 2024. The album received positive reviews from both fans and critics, hailing it as a treasure trove for pop music fans. Out of the album's 16 tracks, 15 of them had been originally intended for the 2013 album, including the previously released American Girl, Sleepwalker, and Stars in Your Heart, for which Bonnie obtained permission from Epic Records to include on the album. Only one new song, Snatched, was recorded for the 2024 version. Ever since I've learned about who Bonnie was and discovered American Girl back in 2013, I've been quietly rooting for her from the sidelines. Her 2015 Bombastic EP was a fantastic slice of 80s pop perfection, and the visuals that accompanied that EP are equally impressive. Bonnie has a really strong eye for color and fashion, as well as an instantly recognizable and unique visual style. It's a little mystifying to me as to why American Girl didn't really take off like Bonnie and her label had hoped, considering that it was completely in line sonically and visually with pop music trends of the time. I think if she had given the song to Kesha or Katy Perry, they probably could have made it a much bigger hit. Following Hot City's release, Bonnie stated that she was already working on her third album and hoped to have it released by next year. Let's hope that it doesn't take another decade this time. It would be pretty tempting to say that Bonnie's career post-2013 is a sharp decline from the massive commercial success of the years preceding, but it's important to note that the pop music landscape has changed dramatically since the release of Teenage Dream. As stated in the beginning of this video, pop music careers don't usually have an extended shelf life, as what's popular can change faster than ever thanks to the internet and TikTok. Bonnie's success, though, even in that short amount of time, is nothing short of spectacular. From 2010 to 2013, Bonnie co-wrote 10 songs that would go to #1 in either the US or the UK. Combined sales of all of her #1s have totaled over 30 million copies sold, with Roar becoming the best-selling song of Katy Perry's career, while Taio Cruz's Dynamite would go on to become the second best-selling song by a British artist in the digital era. 3 of the 5 #1 songs from Katy Perry's Teenage Dream were co-written by McKee, and Even Hold It Against Me was widely regarded as one of Britney Spears' strongest comeback singles at the time. Together with her mentors Max Martin and Dr. Luke, McKee played a pivotal role in spearheading the pop resurgence of the 2010s. Their distinct brand of pop music left a significant imprint on both national and global music scenes during the first half of the decade, defining an entire generation. And interestingly enough, this sound is starting to make a resurgence due to millennial nostalgia. Many fans, including myself, are eager for a potential reunion between Bonnie McKee and Katy Perry, especially following the recent controversy surrounding Katy Perry's collaboration with Dr. Luke for her 143 album. Bonnie herself, though, I think is almost perfectly positioned for a major comeback, and I'm really hoping that she gets the push from a major label that she deserves. Though her brand of pop music isn't what is most popular these days, I think that her status as one of pop music's biggest hit makers gives her an edge over most of her contemporaries who have already faded from relevancy. Now that she's no longer as in demand as she used to be, she can hold on to her best songs now. If the fan reaction to Hot City is indication, then we may soon, witness the return of one of pop music's most underrated icons. And that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been looking forward to sharing this video with you for a little while now. I recently got back into Bonnie and listened to the Hot City album, and I just kind of came up with this off the top of my head. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know some of your favorite songs that Bonnie McKee has written. I'll go over to the Wikipedia page that shows all the songs that she's written or co-written. I was pretty impressed by the amount of hits in her back catalog. Please let me know what you thought of the video, any other comments, concerns, criticisms you have. As always, you guys please take good care of yourselves, stay hydrated, stay safe, and I'll see you all again here real soon.